These days, the mere thought of working a 9 to 5 feels like a distant dream I can barely remember. Whenever I think about clocking in somewhere, it brings me back to that feeling I had as a kid when summer break had ended and school started again. That deep sadness, that dread, that feeling that something beautiful was being cut short. Even as a teenager, I felt like so many of life's moments were fleeting, and in my bones, I could feel I was wasting time sitting in classrooms I didn't belong in. And later, I felt the exact same way working a 9 to 5. I just didn't know how to find my way out of it. In this video, I'm going to share the strategies our family used to finally leave that system, even before we could see the full path. Just having the faith that the life we wanted was waiting for us on the other side of the fear of letting go. And toward the end, I'll give you the 5 key steps that helped us build a life we love, so make sure you stick around. I vaguely remember that version of myself. He was tired, anxious, living a life he was told to follow, not one he truly chose. I worked long hours for someone else's dream, came home exhausted, nothing left for my kids, just a blur of busy days and quiet frustration. I didn't hate my life, but I wasn't really living it. I was surviving it. For years, I worked at a group home with kids. At first, it felt like purpose. I rose from youth worker to counselor, thinking this was my calling. But with new leadership, things changed. The desk job drained me. I realized I hated being stuck behind a desk. I hated the feeling of wasting my days, and yet I had a family to provide for and no idea what was next. That was the hardest part, the not knowing. But I started thinking, if working for someone else is going to be hard, why not build something hard for myself? That's when I stumbled back into the garden. Just a small patch of earth, but it was the start of everything. I didn't have a plan, no roadmap, just a gut feeling that something had to change. So I started small, planting a few vegetables, raising a few chickens. I failed often, but with every mistake came growth. And something happened. I felt alive again. Food I grew ended up on our table. The chickens provided eggs. My family saw me present. Piece by piece, I was building something real. I want to be honest about something I don't talk about enough. A lot of people say you need to have a clear vision first. But what do you do when you don't have the full vision yet? Just this deep sense that you can't keep living the way that you are. For me, it started with trusting God before I could see where He was leading. And I've struggled with that. Trusting when the numbers don't add up. Trusting when the next step isn't clear. Trusting when all I can say is, God, I hope you've got this. One of the most attractive things about my wife, and one of the reasons I'm standing here today, is how much she trusts in God. When I can't see the next step, she still believes it's there. When I doubt myself, she gives me strength. When I start sinking, she pulls me back with her faith. Recently, in our late 30s, we made a pact. We're done working jobs that don't align with who God made us to be. Life is too short to waste it serving companies that don't care about you. Too short to support causes you don't believe in. Too short to sell your soul just to pay bills. And what would that teach our kids? We want them to pursue what lights them up, the gifts God placed in them. And we can't teach them that if we're too afraid to pursue our own callings. My wife made the first brave move. She left her teaching job after a decade because she couldn't agree with what the education system was becoming. That led us to homeschooling, something even our own families didn't understand. How can someone inside the system walk away? But maybe that's exactly why she needed to. And as for me, I left job after job trying to be enough, trying to show value by grinding myself into the ground. But it felt awful. I always dreamed of working for myself, but I didn't have it figured out. No plan, no blueprint, just a quiet, persistent call from God. And I believe this. God rewards leaps of faith. Even when you mess up, even when you take the wrong steps first, even when you don't have the full vision yet. My wife eventually took another job. But it only stressed our family out. She felt unappreciated, and no paycheck is worth sacrificing your family. So she quit, without the perfect plan, just faith. Suddenly we were all home, trying to figure out the next step. When we made the decision to quit our 9 to 5 jobs and truly pursued the life God put on our hearts, it wasn't because we had everything figured out. We didn't have a huge savings account. We didn't have passive income. We didn't have financial security waiting for us. What we did have was a willingness to live differently. And honestly, that's what made this entire lifestyle possible. We made non-traditional choices, choices most people would never make, because freedom was more important to us than fitting in. We drove old cars with no payments when everyone around us was upgrading. We moved into a tiny house that was fully paid off. We bought land off Craigslist, nothing fancy, land with an old trailer on it, and paid that land off too. Our kids wore hand-me-down clothes, and we were grateful for every one. We shopped at thrift stores, not the mall. We built an off-grid barn instead of taking on a mortgage. We grew as much of our own food as we possibly could. And we lived in a tiny amount of space, which meant we couldn't really accumulate much stuff. No clutter, no impulse buys, no debt traps. Everything we owned had to earn its space. And most things didn't. These decisions might look small from the outside, but they added up. They meant lower bills, lower stress, lower monthly obligations. They gave us room to breathe, room to be with our kids, room to chase the life we felt called to live. And that's the truth a lot of people don't want to hear. To build a life of freedom, you have to be willing to live differently than everyone else. We traded comfort for purpose, material things for meaning, convenience for freedom. And that's how we made it work. And yes, it took work. We weren't given handouts. We don't come from money. We definitely put in the work to even make this leap a possibility. We worked hard for years to save enough to have a year's worth of bills paid for, to give us the safety net if our plans didn't work out. Joel Salatin spoke about how he was writing for a newspaper at the time that he wanted to start his farm. They saved up 2 years of living expenses while he worked on making his farm profitable and living in an old barn with no frills. And he did get his farm going in that time and hasn't looked back, and today is one of the world's most famous farmers and has one of the most famous farms in the world. Now, if our plans don't work out, we could always make more money, but at the end of our lives, we won't be able to buy back the time we would have wasted living a life we didn't love. And living an unconventional life so far below our means has made our monthly bills far more achievable. But still, I was stressed. My YouTube channel wasn't growing. My ideas weren't landing. And I remember praying, really praying, before posting the video that changed everything. God, if this is where you want me, please show me. I'm trying so hard and getting nowhere. I put more effort into that video than ever before. The story, the thumbnail, the message, and sure enough, it took off. That was the moment I realized God had been leading me here all along. The struggle wasn't punishment, it was preparation. It took years of wrong turns to find the right direction. And through it all, my wife believed in me, even when I couldn't believe in myself. I truly believe this. Marry the right person, and you can rebuild your entire life. Now I can finally see the path God was trying to show me. And I can tell you with complete confidence, the life you want, the life you feel in your chest, is waiting on the other side of the fear you're holding on to. Some people measure success in money or titles, but rushing from work to daycare, to dinner, to bed, that's not living. That's chasing. I looked around and saw that many people with money are actually broke. Their income evaporates into debt, mortgages, car payments, and stress. And they call it normal. But I didn't want normal. I wanted something real. When I realized the food at the store wasn't even nourishing us, I knew I had to be part of the solution. That's how I went from a 9-to-5 desk job to growing food, raising chickens, and helping others do the same. If you're watching this and wondering how you get from where you are to where you want to be, here are the 5 major steps that changed everything for me. Step 1, listen to your heart. That quiet nudge from God, don't ignore it. Step 2, take imperfect action. Don't wait for the perfect plan. Just start something. Step 3, follow your passions. Those things that light you up are clues to your calling. Step 4, immerse yourself. Learn, watch, read, fail, try again. Don't give up. Step 5, work hard. Really hard. Every dream requires grind, sacrifice, and consistency. That's how we got here. Not luck, just faith, small beginnings, and a lot of hard work. I'm not the same man I used to be. I used to dread mornings. Now I wake up grateful, healthier, stronger, more alive. Every sunrise, every seed, every chicken reminds me why we started. If you feel stuck in a life that doesn't fit you, you don't have to stay there. You can build a life you love. That's why I wrote the 400 square foot garden. That little patch of soil changed my life, and I believe it can change yours. My book, The 400 Square Foot Garden, is currently on sale on Amazon, and I'm currently selling it for the cheapest price that Amazon will let me publish it as part of the Amazon KDP self-publishing platform. And I would really love to get more reviews on my book that I self-published earlier this year. So if anyone would like to learn more about gardening and starting your first garden from scratch in a very small space and grow food year-round, I wrote this book for you, and I would really appreciate if you would buy and review my book from Amazon, and I will put down a link down below so you could check that out. And you could also get the ebook version of my book at www.the400squarefootgarden.com. And if you want more of the faith, the struggle, and the why behind everything we do, join us on Substack. Now on Substack, if you follow me there, I do a lot of writing. I really enjoy writing and sharing my thoughts, and sometimes I want to share thoughts that don't really make for very good videos on YouTube, but I still think they're worth being said or shared, and I will be sharing those things on Substack. And one cool thing about Substack is it allows my audience to connect with me because I have member-only chats in Substack. So if you're subscribed and a paying member of the Substack, you can get direct access to me, asking me questions, any questions you might have for your garden or homestead or whatever you have. You could ask me questions and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And I'll also be sharing there some of my garden plans directly in Substack. So I do my chicken garden plans. I will put all of those plans in there. My garden plans for our family, where we're trying to grow enough food to feed us for the year. I will put exactly what we're growing and what we're planning to do in my Substack. These are things that I want to share with people, but they don't always come through in YouTube. Sometimes it's not worth making a YouTube video about planning your garden because it's not very entertaining, but on Substack, I can get that information out to the people that really want it. Definitely check out my Substack. The link is down below. So in this video, I didn't really share the actual methods that we're actually trying to make money to make this no 9-to-5 dream work. So for one, the Substack is going to be one that I'm pushing harder moving into next year. So the Substack is going to be a membership. It doesn't cost very much, less than $10 a month, or you could pay for the whole year for a discount to join our Substack. And that would be really great if you would do that and just want to support our family. And the other is obviously our YouTube channel makes a little bit of income, not enough to support our family, but it's getting a little bit more as we grow our subscriber base. And the last thing that I'm really excited about is my course, the Self-Sufficient Chicken. And this course is going to teach you how to do everything you need to do raising chickens, from hatching them at home to all the way to butchering and even cooking them, and how we do that. So if you want to become more self-sufficient with your chickens and learn, even if there's some kind of crazy crisis and all the feed stores close, how would you go about feeding your animals that feed your family? What would you do? What could you feed them every day? That's what you're going to find in this course. Nobody else is covering this topic in any courses that I've found. I've done a ton of research on this. Everything that I've learned over the last 5 years of raising chickens, and how all of my experiments of raising chickens without using store-bought feed. And I'm going to end this video with a little intro clip to my chicken course. I hope you enjoy it. And if you want to be on the wait list for the Self-Sufficient Chicken course, I have a link for that down below. If this video inspired you, hit the like button, share it, and subscribe. Every week we share how we're raising chickens, growing food, and building a family-centered life of faith and purpose. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Hey, I'm Drew from Self-Sufficient Homestead, and if you're on this page, it probably means you want more control over how you feed your chickens. Maybe you're tired of rising feed prices. Maybe you've wondered what you'd do if the feed store ever shut down. Or maybe you just want your flock to live on real food you can grow, cook, or source yourself. I built this course to show you exactly how to do that. Inside this course, I teach you everything from incubating baby chicks without starter feed, to my exact daily feed system, to growing your own chicken feed, to growing natural protein sources like black soldier fly larvae and garden scraps, and even how to raise and butcher your own meat birds. This is the full system I use on my own homestead, and it works no matter how many chickens you have or how much space that you're working with. By the end, you'll be able to feed your entire flock without ever depending on the feed store again. So if you're ready to become truly self-sufficient and give your chickens the healthiest, most natural diet they've ever had, join me inside the course. You'll get lifetime access, printable PDFs, and every future update included. I'll see you inside.